afternoon, good evening, good morning, folks. It's your man, always George Page, aka the Emperor of Female Body Talk, coming to you live on YouTube. Well, folks, can you believe it? It's a week today. I came back home from Tampa. I mean, it was a good trip for me. Only inconvenience was the 6 hour wait at the train station there and back. I mean, I had to stop in Savannah and wait 6 hours and then stop, but I enjoyed it, and really I've been busy, with this. I still got some stuff I need to post from that show. I got also some interviews I just finished last week, and I can pick up some more. And also, this is a lovely lady who I met before I set up this interview. I met her first, and this is going to be the third lady I got to meet at Tampa and doing an interview here at my hometown in North Carolina. We have here the lovely Miss Eileen Aviles. If I got a name wrong last name, I want to apologize because I'm from the South. Sometimes we spell things as we did see differently. She is IFBB Physique Pro. She did a couple of shows just recently. Chicago Pro, which is a Tim Gardner production. Also, Tampa's another Tim Gardner show. She competed both in the open division, and we will have a story about how she got started and what her plans now that the season's kind of winding down. I think there's a few more shows left for Olympia.
Yeah, there is a few shows left, but I am in the off season now, being in the education system. So I am a teacher, so I have to go back to school. But it's been an interesting season. I work hard. Usually I start my prep in December with my coach, and then work my way down as we get towards the summer break, and then we start getting ready for the shows. So it's been an awesome season. I was very proud of the package that I brought. So it's like I got the feedback now, and so now it's back to off season. Unfortunately, I would have loved to done more, but
she's a teacher. While I was in camp, I ran to a guy who's a legendary singer, the great Mr. Robert David Lee Roth, aka Diamond Dave, the first true real singer of Van Halen. And they have a song called "I'm Hot for Teacher." Well, I'm hot for you, Eileen. Yeah, I get it made. I'm hot for teacher. So and you realize I'm a fool. So, Eileen, what got you started in sport, as I call it, muscle and masculinity? Please share.
What got me into it, honestly, was my father. Since I was younger, he was the weightlifter in the family, loved the bodybuilding and enjoyed everything about it. And so I've watched him grow. And so when I turned 18, I took a weightlifting class and fell in love with it, got the instruction, and fell in love with it ever since. So I dabbled in that in other sports. But I really got into heavy lifting with strongman. And that was around 2012, 2013. And then I did a strongman meet where I was able to win the class, and I had a good time. But unfortunately, I got injured right after, like maybe another meet. And so I did like the bodybuilding stuff for a couple of years, but never really got to compete fully and get into the circuit until 2022 with who I met with Flow Leader Riley. She's in Pembroke Pines. And so she met with me, we got together, and I decided to take it seriously from there because I just wanted something to really challenge myself and get myself back in check to what I used to love doing.
Yeah, I think everybody has their background, athletic. Know some ladies who got it because of some medical issues. One lady I talk about because she was dealing with obesity before she got into bodybuilding. It's just a sport that I think draws people into it because of the development of the body as you grow. And like you said, your father got to, a girl's best friend's her daddy. That's the first true man you love, And for me, what got me into bodybuilding was my older brother. He used to be also lift weights. So I used to lift weights with him and the muscle mags and stuff. Like I got to meet Kevin Levrone, who was there at Tampa, and that I remember him when I was looking through the magazines. I told him, sir, Mr. Levrone, sir, you could have been Mr. Olympia at least a couple of times. He kept saying he agreed with me, and it was a great opportunity to meet him and several other competitors. Even I saw Derek Lungford. He's there. I realized that dude was that short. He's like I'm like you used to be Mr. Olympia. But
all of us are little. I mean, I met another women's physique competitor. She just recently moved down here, and so she was just mentioning, like, we're all short in stature. You know, she's like, I'm 5 feet. How tall are you? And I'm like, I'm 5'3". So, you know, we may come off like super big, which I'm very proud of. You know, like we're big and strong, even though we may seem like tiny. But like I'm proud of my tightness. So I don't care.
Well, a lady I interviewed yesterday, her name is Alex Blankenship. She's 4'8". Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
she's really tiny. She's a
We're
cute
all
little thing. She's like a little cute little bunny rabbit. I want to stroke her and hold her. But yeah, I think usually I think the shorter, more compact women can put on muscle better compared to taller women. I got a friend. Her name is Tina Williams, and Tina, she's like 5'9", about 5'10". You look at Michaela Aycock, she's barely
yeah.
5 feet tall,
Mm-hmm.
and her muscles just crazy. As we know,
Yeah.
she decided to take a step back from bodybuilding. I think she may not be competing anymore,
Mm-hmm.
or sometimes take some time off, maybe just recover. So
Yeah, yeah, she's an amazing person. I got to meet her in person the year before when I made my pro debut. So I felt like she was like a good luck charm, super humble, sweet. I love her mom as well. I chased down her mom too. Um, but it's just nice to meet other competitors like Michaela, who, you know, we all share the same passion, the same discipline, the love for the sport, but also the love for the growth, the personal development. So I feel like what I do is not only just something personal, but it's a testament to others that, you know, we all walk different paths of life, but we all can share that same love of bodybuilding and just learning to grow from it and how we can just become better human beings every single day. So she's another prime example. Sydney Gillen also, who I hope to meet or, you know, run into one day. She seems like an amazing person as well. And so I strive to want to be that person as well, even for the youth who's always watching me 24/7.
yeah, because you're a teacher, you're dealing with kids, and now
Mhm.
summer vacation. I know, certain states they already start back at school, and I think Florida. I think y'all supposed to start back this week, or
Tomorrow.
is it tomorrow? Oh yeah,
Tomorrow.
so yeah, tomorrow. I don't envy you. I mean, teachers, y'all go through a lot, and you take care, you watch our children, and you sometimes see the bit of more of the worst, and the best of them. So, what got you into
Yeah.
teaching?
Oh, I was originally a nursing major. I wanted to jump into the medical field, but ever since I was like 14, I've always worked with kids, babysat, nannied, and worked summer camps, and it was something that came natural. And so, around 2010, I went on a missions trip to Brazil, spent some time there, and came back and realized maybe nursing wasn't for me because I ran into so many blocks for the nursing program. So prayed about it and then just ended up going to the education field and seeing what that would bring, and doors flew open from there. So I just always felt like it was something that came natural. So I felt like, well, use this gift, fan the flame of that gift, and pursue it. So been teaching now for about 10 years. So now it's pursuing leadership and trying to see what else I can do and to grow in that field. But the kids always need us. And when you can reach, those certain ones that need that assistance, and when you see that light bulb click for those students that, may have a hard time getting content or anything like that, it makes everything worthwhile. So for me, having great mentors throughout the whole entire time, from professors to teaching mentors, like all of them have helped me to grow my love for everything. So, and I love learning new things. Like you never stop being a student, for those that love growth, whether it's learning it in the education field. I always love to learn with cooking too. That's something, it's always a love that I've had. So even though I love food in general, I actually love the science of cooking. So learning and growing every day. And that's what I try to pursue and try to give those kids as an example also.
Yeah, I think one thing you mentioned food earlier. That is the important part about being a bodybuilder, because most people, when they think about bodybuilders, I say this quite often, because I just take some steroids and just gotta get big and I like a lot. No, food is part of it. Nutrition is the most important part of it. It's the
Yes.
most difficult part because you're eating things that when I was at the I was sitting in the booth with my friend JoJo. She's one of the ladies that ran Bad Rap. Shout out to Bad Rap.
Uh-huh.
I was there to help my friend
Yeah, they
Eunice.
had an item.
Yeah, she's a great lady, Eunice. I mean, she says, "Wear the hat." I'll put it on every now,
There
Eunice,
you
but
go. Represent.
I'm not a hat guy every day.
I usually
But
love my hats. It looks nice
Yeah,
though.
yeah. Thank you. Shout out to you. And also what what I know is that food is very important about the process of bodybuilder. I remember when I was talking with JoJo. She gave me these healthy cookies, and I was eating it, and then I felt like, am I eating clay dirt or am I eating because I mean it's
It's
very
intense,
intimidating.
some items.
Yeah, it's a particular interesting taste. I kept drinking water so I can get it down. But that's the thing is, because that's a part of the process. And you mentioned earlier, Coach. Share her name again. How long y'all been together?
Lolita Riley.
Uh huh.
Lolita Riley, yeah. She's down in Pembroke Pines, down south from me. She's been in the game 30 plus years, and we have a huge team at Tampa Pro. If you didn't see on MPC Day, I think we had almost over 15 athletes compete, which we're all very proud of each other and super supportive of one another. But I came to her in 22 because my body it went into complete shock. I was doing intermittent fasting and my body just wasn't responding how it was supposed to. And so I was like, I need to do something. It was starting to affect me mentally and just feeling emotional about it. And so I've always loved going to bodybuilding shows. So every time I've gone, I would always hear the team award going to her. And I'm like, who is this woman? But I followed her for over the previous years, but I never, asked for her, never sat down with her just because I always felt I wasn't ready. And I always told myself that if I'm going to go for something like this, I definitely want to make sure everything's good to go. Like all my ducks are in a row so that I'm mentally, physically, and emotionally prepared for the experience because I knew what I was going to get into. And
Mm-hmm.
so when I married my husband, he had told me in 22, he was like, why don't you try bodybuilding? And I kind of left it in the past due to just previous things that's happened in my life. And I just was like, I'm not going to do this anymore. I didn't want to pursue it. And so my husband now had told me, he's like, just try it one more time and see, what comes of it. And so when I called for Lolita, I called her and asked to meet with her and sat down with her. And the first thing she said to me, she's like, so what show do you want to do? And I said, I don't want to do a show yet. I said, you're going to tell me when I'm ready for a show. And she's like, okay. And I said, but I do know how to train. I do know how to, push myself. I said, just give me 3 months with a plan and all that good stuff. And so we set a plan and we were moving it forward. And then come July of that year, I sat down, we made great progress, and she looks at me and the first thing she pulls out is the packet, which was the packet of the shows that were for NPC. And that put a big smile on my face because, that let me know that I was ready. And then that's when we decided to pursue First Call Out, which was a great show. And we did both figure and physique. Then that was the only time because we wanted to see where I fit in. Whether it was the physique category or the figure category. And even though I swept that show, both categories in that show, which was a huge blessing. I mean, it was really neat for the experience and being able to win both categories and all the classes. It was very nice. So that just set the trail blazing for me to continue. And we did nationals and then we took a break. So that way I can just build in the off season. And then ever since we've just been learning and growing together and just enjoying the ride. So it's been awesome working with her.
Yeah, that's about bodybuilding. It's a process where you have to learn and adapt and grow. You did figure for a bit, and then it didn't work out because you felt
Mhm.
like it wasn't the division for you. Where I'm seeing some women who are in a division, like if you look at women physique right now, and women division like figure, where they're kind of outgrowing the division. They need to. It'd be better for them in the long run to move up, but they always use that excuse says, "I don't want to move up because as long as I'm placed in the top 5, I'm good." But you could win a
Mhm.
show or even place. I'm seeing some ladies who done that switch. One lady who I've had a guest on, who's also from your neck of Florida, is Sherry Piami. She was women's
Yeah.
physique for a good while. She switched over to women's bodybuilding. Same thing with Michaela. I
Mhm.
think it's about where you go and your body grows as an athlete, and also
Mhm.
that feeling on stage. That first time, you got to think about it. You're partially butt naked. You got this crazy suit on. You got people looking at you, judging you. Say, "Who is this?"
Mhm.
What was that feeling for yourself that first time?
Um, For the first time when in the first call out, when I came out, I mean, I pushed my body hard from doing everything possible to making sure that I was conditioned to the T. And I remember when I got out on stage and figure, because just worried about the steps with the heels, because I was just like a deer, I felt. And I'm walking out, and I just remember standing up and I looked at Tim Gardner, who was judging, and I remember him flipping his pen and just saying, like, you know, what is she here for? Kind of thing. Like, she won the category. And he said on the microphone, I don't think this is your first time ever doing it. And I'm like, this is why you practice. You know, this is why you prepare, even if it's not a year from now or 5 years from now, or in my case, 10 years from now, because I've always wanted to compete pretty much around Sydney Gillen's age when she started. That's when I was getting into it. But life, you know, and everything happens. And so to be able to do it, you know, years from then, and to be here now to continue to complete that goal and that dream. I mean, I never thought I would get this far, and here I am. And so it's definitely possible. And as you know, people make it as cheesy as it sounds, like dreams do come true, you know, if you continue to pursue it and push hard, and regardless of what life brings at you, you try to find a way to make it happen.
Yeah, that's like the old song, fairy tales come true when you're young in heart, because it can happen. Because if you're determined enough, and you are, one thing about bodybuilding, you have to have focus, determination, discipline, and consistency. It's not as easy as everybody think of it. You just go to the gym and just pump this weight. You have to have a plan. Sometimes, as my other guy says, I don't have a plan, Eileen. I'm just a dog chasing cars. I don't know what to do when I get one. And you know, it's just about where you fit. Like, I know some ladies who love the high heels of figure or bikini or wellness. Others don't. They be happy to get those clog hoppers off. And you know, I know ladies say, "I'm glad with my bare feet." Someone told me one time she had to take a air dryer, try to loosen the straps because her feet swell. We have here is Kanchin Bag, if it's his name again. It's Kanchin. It says, "Hi, brother." And you mentioned someone, Cindy Gillen, who is the former Miss Olympia figure champion. As you know, there's a grab for the title. Just saw that Missy Trescott won the figure division at the Tupelo just Friday, and then you also just confirmed that Jessica Reyes Padilla is now again two-time Masters Olympian champion. And you know, I feel person I really like is Lola Montez. I think her physique is great. She has a great look to her. I would like to see her as champion. Either one, you know, I think if I had to choose between, I would say Lola or someone else. Like I saw Rhea Gale, she just won her title at Texas. Like you talking about, is that one of your people that you really admire in the sport? Like Cindy Gillen, is anybody else too?
Jessica Reyes is another person that, you know, she's a Boricua like I am. So it's like, yeah, like I'm, you know, proud of her here.
Oh, you're Puerto Rican. Ay, mommy. I love y'all Puerto Rican women. Y'all psych me. Ay, mommy. Yeah.
She's a great person that you know, Michaela is another person. I mean, I meet people along the way. That I just find Linda Murray, like they're just beautiful women through and through. Brooke Walker, like all of them are just great people. And as I continue to just go along this journey, meeting new competitors, fellow competitors like April Casamano, like I never got to meet her and got to meet her at Tampa Pro. She's cool peoples. And I'm very excited for her and her journey. And many others that I've just met, even another one today, like just in the gym, like everybody inspires me when I hear their story and where they're coming from. And it's always nice to meet other individuals and we share our battles and what, you know, the future of bodybuilding looks like. And so we have those great conversations and we get inspired by each other regardless. So from big names to names that haven't been, you know, discovered yet, everybody continues to motivate me because this is something that is a huge community for us, even though we may seem like a small percentage in the world. So it's really neat.
I think bodybuilding is growing because, you know, we just had the Masters Olympia in Japan. There's several shows overseas. I was talking with Brianna Terry, who was there because you know she's friend of Hunter Henderson. She was competing for the Tampa title, and she was telling me they're going to be a show in Mexico. Right, I think a little bit right after the Olympia, and also there's going to be a show also in Vegas where it's going to have women's bodybuilding, which is one of the few opportunities for women bodybuilding to have a show
Yeah.
other than the Rising Phoenix, other than the Rising Phoenix,
Rising Phoenix. Yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah, it's it's no longer. It used to be the women's bodybuilding world championship, but now Jake, who runs the Olympia, it's because it's more to open shows. Like it used to be just the Arizona Pro, which all the other divisions, the Rising Phoenix was women's bodybuilding. And I always want to shout this man out because he's the guy who came in when women's bodybuilding was on its ropes. He saved it. That Mr. Jake Wood. I gotta say to him, yo, Jake, I want that money. I want that gun. That is him with the lovely, the lovely iPhone Melody Specco. And one person who I'm also a big fan of in this sport, and I call her, she's my girlfriend, and that is Andrea Shaw.
Oh, she's lovely. Yeah, that's
she's
another.
So beautiful.
I got to meet her at Olympia when it was in Orlando at the time, and she's super sweet. What's that?
That was in 2023, right? That was the last time they had
Yeah, it was that was like my first Olympia, so it was really cool. A friend she convinced me, she's like, let's just drive, let's just go up, and I'm like, okay, I'll go. And so we spent the day there and got to see the expo and got to see the women compete, and it was really neat experience. So but hopefully next Olympia I'll be in it. That's the goal.
Yeah, I know a friend of mine, my friend Eunice, I keep advertising Bad Rap, big and defined, ripped and pumped. Yeah, for y'all ladies. She was there that year too, and she went into Andrea. And as my other half says, if you get us something, never do it for free. And sometimes I enjoy what I call is a payment, because she sent it to me for my birthday. It was my 49th birthday that year, and she sent it to me as a gift.
Oh, nice. That was her cover, yeah.
Yeah, this is muscle development. I have some of them in a case with some comic books. Just collected.
I have some that are saved too from Oxygen magazine when they used to be out, and Muscle Hers, and they were all great magazines.
Iron Man.
Yeah,
I think muscle development stopped producing these, but what makes this one so special, not just because Andrea's on the cover. And I know, guys, you hate me when I do this, but you know what? I don't give a damn. I'm good at that. She signed it for me. Signed it. You can say, I've got yesterday said, you decided for hell no. You just told me, because we talked on the phone this afternoon, they're talking, you signed my. No, I didn't, because she's generally, when I talk to ladies who have known her and met her, she's generally a great person. She's a great ambassador for her division. And I think she has a great look to her, great personality. I did this when I got to see Ashley Jones there, and I saw her. You ever saw the movie Color Purple, where there's a part where Oprah Winfrey is seeing finally get to see Whoopi Goldberg and Miss Sissy, saying like, I've seen that jail sitting the rock, and I saw you. I knew there was a God. I knew there was a God. I said that. I said to Ashley, if I see Andre, I would say to her, when I saw Eunice, because me and Eunice we always been talking on the phone and get to. I act like that part at the end of it says, "Oh no, I'm a fool, I'm crazy." But people like that, they are amazing women. And when I saw these ladies, and I look how social media treat them, how they tell like, oh, he's trying to be a man, she's not that. And right now, like I say, I have here a beautiful Boricua woman in front of me, folks. And she's a married lady, so I say I'll be respectful for your husband. I won't be too, That thing is, man, I'm a Southern gentleman. I gotta be respectful for a lady. I should ask your permission first before I got into it. But there are so many different women in this world, and everybody has different looks to them. And I would say all you ladies are beautiful. One of my crimes, Eileen, is I am a muscle pair smell. I admit that crime. I think y'all ladies just like when I saw you, I was just so intoxicated. But doing this content, I really get to know what it is, what fuels your interest, especially sport where it's so extreme, so not the norm, especially where some people say it changed the aspects of what is considered feminine.
So, like, as far as what drives me to this sport, it's not normal. That's why, it's different. It's unique. I mean, I've always loved the fact that these women stood out to me and that they just defined discipline and strength. Like, every time a person had asked me, even when I was a personal trainer and everything like that, what do you love about doing the weightlifting. I just like being strong as heck. Like I love being the fact that I can go in a room and be like, I could take you. Like if I wanted to, like just playing around. But that confidence you feel. And so to me, with the femininity aspect of it, you know, a lot of people, you know, in the dominant world, as far as they see us, they see us as intimidating. And really, we want to display that soft, feminine characteristics constantly. We want to feel that, you know, like I'm thankful for my husband in the sense, you know, that he helps me to stay that vulnerability and to feel comfortable and all those things, because you spend all day being strong. And you spend, you know, like even to my students, when they see me in the hallways, they need to see that toughness to hold that strength. But sometimes you want to crumble. And as a female of strength, and yeah, we got muscles, and yeah, we could, you know, lift crazy weight and all that stuff. But there's parts of us that are feminine. There's nothing that went away, you know. So it's just like we still are the feminine, the strong, the what you want to see. And a lot of people look up to that. Other people find it threatening. But I say, you know, one person that came up to me once and made some comments here and there. And I said, listen, I'm your mirror. If you're looking at me and you're bashing me and you're throwing things at me and all these comments, you're just looking at yourself and what you want to be. And it's okay. I don't like confrontation. There have been comments and people have sent messages in the past. You know, I could be nasty and I could be petty, if you want to call it that, and say nasty things and do what other people do. But that's that. I'm not the world. I'm a woman of God. I'm a woman of faith, and those people are hurting. Hurt people. So, and even in the competitive world, you know, my first in Tampa Pro the year before, nobody spoke to each other. And so for me, it was very interesting because I was like, do I move? Do I stay? Do I say hello? Do I not? But this year that I came, you know, the second time around, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to be myself. And maybe I came off so tough and I could, you know, be so nervous and things like that. But it's like, I love being girly girls and silly, and we're all tomboys at the same time, you know, like we all share those same characteristics and aspects of life. And so for me, when we see other strong women, it's very comforting. But in the world, sometimes, you know, we have to kind of hold our chin up and try to maintain that strength. But we're just like any other woman, any other female.
Well, like I said, everybody has their ideas of what is considered feminine, and y'all ladies, many of you're doing a sport that's very, it's very out of the norm. And my mindset is that all y'all are beautiful, in my opinion. You know, you may not be the beauty of the standard of what most people look at it, but it is. And here's the thing: I have faith, but I'm more a bit of a sinner than a saint sometimes.
Oh, we all
And
are.
I don't look for trouble. If trouble come my way, I can handle it. I remember one time we were sitting one night, and I used to work in this club, you know, back in the day. It was a gentleman's club. And one night we were just sitting chilling afterwards, and my boss's girlfriend was talking. He said, George, you're always nice and quiet. And I told her like this. I say like this: I can be the nicest person when I need to be, or a stone cold son of a bitch when I have to be. That's the flip. I can go if I have to. I can be just the nicest, sweetest, kindest, or I can be just as mean as the devil. I know I'm my father's son. I say like this: I have my mother's heart, but I also have my father's fury. We're gonna look at a couple of pictures here because this is from her debut, and this is from her. And this is, as you know, it was the first time her debut, and also the second time this past week when she's on the stage with this year's champion, Sama Binta. Amazing physique. I mean, her shoulders and traps are crazy.
Our traps are ridiculous.
Yes. Also, Paula Renta is there. You know, this was her second time this year. And also, they have also interviewed the lovely Miss Oksana Perari, and also Elaine Alvarez, who is she's from Spain. She's a different level of Spanish. You know, beautiful women, all different ways. Jenny Feldman, all I would say different colors of the rainbow. And here's also the lady.
It's very diverse. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Here's the lady who Daphne. I interviewed a long time ago. We've been in contact for a good bit. Get to see, even take a picture with her. We were there.
We come to the same gym together on occasion, so we'll see each other. But I've got to meet Daphne. She was in my first show, and so when I first met her, I fell in love with her physique. And at the time, I believe she was wellness. I'm not, or not, I think so. I'm not 100%. She wasn't women's physique just yet.
Well, I remember she when I first interviewed a while back, she was still doing physique, and then she was
Yeah.
a year or so later. She told me she went to wellness. She did somewhat, but because her arms, she said, because she has
She's
crazy
got a
arms.
great back, upper body. Like she's got a killer body. And so when I first met her, you know, I was a nervous wreck, obviously my first show, and all the expediters, they're always great behind the scenes. And I got to help a few times and doing trophies and awards. So to be able to work with her on occasion, and then I've always admired her and always, you know, thought she was just the sweetest thing. And her husband as well, he's a great person, very, very kind, very, very respectful. And so to be able to share the stage with her, I told her, I go, this is an honor. I go, I've always admired you since the beginning. So for me, this was like a huge deal. And even the same on Tampa Pro with Kim, she made top 10 with us. And so, you know, to be able to share the stage with her, because she did masters the night before and won, and then to share these, you know, the stage with these ladies and to share a gym with them and a gym environment, it's nice to me. And I don't see it as like, I'm going to beat you or anything like that. It's like, that's my sister in iron. Like whoever makes it to the top, like you did it for all of us, you know, and it's each of us have our own journeys and our own paths, but everybody's story is beautiful in all this. And so I love it. I love competing with these women.
Yeah, I talked to Kim for a good bit, you know, after the show, and she's an amazing young lady. What she's been through in her past, you know, dealing with what she had, addiction, stuff like that, and and I don't know if it's confirmed yet, but I think she might do another show. I hope the
And I
best of luck
believe
in that.
Daphne is doing Atlanta Pro as well.
Yeah, Atlanta Pro, as you know, that's the Linda Murray show. I was thinking about going to Atlanta one year, but I have a car that broke down on me. I was saving money to get it fixed. Then I said, forget that club hopper. I'm just gonna save some money. And then I was about a month before a month or so before the Tampa show. My friend Eunice, we're talking on the phone, and she was talking. She was trying to get some people to come out there, especially some ladies that she are bodybuilders. And I said, you know what? I got a few bucks on me. I'm not like I'm doing anything. And this was my second show, because my first show was Savannah. And I can tell you, yeah, for me, it was experience. I met some ladies who were there. I was nervous, talked to some ladies. It was cool. But this time, so you know what? I got to get on my own way. I got to be open-minded. I got to go walk around, talk. I saw you. I did interviews with a couple ladies. I got the chance to take pictures and hug Ashley Jones and Sharonka Hitton. You know, those are both lovely chocolate sisters. I just love. And just being there and meeting guys like, you know, Kevin Lavone, Derek Longford, Daly Roth, and, you know, and Tim Gardner, and also Bob Ciccarello. Bobby Chick, I like to call him. He's like a gangster. It's like Bobby Chick, you know, like, you know, he said, hey, Bobby, which Bobby Chick, it was just experience for me. That's great. And also to meet someone like you and just to know what gets you passionate about it. So, folks, what we're going to do is here, while we got Eileen here with us, we're going to jump into her social media for a bit. So if you want to follow her, link in the description of this live stream, you know, support her path. You know, she's taking this off season. We hope we might see her more again next year. You know, as you know, teachers see, you know, the importance of them, their jobs and their career. But guys, I tell you this verbatim, guys, and out of respect to this lady who took time to talk with me, guys, no weird shit. None. Don't send nothing. Eileen, I have heard stories, guys. Like there's an old smoke saying, when your ladies rock hard, we'll rock hard. But you know, guys, come on, be respectful. Understand, this is a lady. This is somebody's wife, daughter. You know, be respectful. Reach out in genuine interest. Don't be that weird guy. So, folks, we're gonna jump to her social media for a bit here. You want to follow her? The links are in the description of this live. And here she is. This is from Chicago. Wow, this picture. I think that's Gilco. He does some great.
Yeah,
Is that Gilco?
no, it's actually Jonathan Owens. So he has been I've known him since the beginning. Also, when he started in the whole game of content, and he got with a photographer, and I forgot his name. I apologize, but he got with his mentor, and so from then he's always been sneaky and just behind the scenes and just taking these beautiful shots. And I've worked with him for one session, and I can't wait to work with him again. I already messaged him about it. But he does some amazing work himself too, and give him a follow as well. The way he just captures the photos and the angles every single time, even from Tampa Pro during check-in. It was one of my favorite pictures of me with I think it's the old school bodybuilding hat. And that's one of my favorite pictures. But the most recent one that I just posted of me doing my posing routine, he took that shot as well. And so I love every piece that he's done. So I'm very thankful for what he captures.
I would say that picture just brought out your complexion, your skin, your muscle,
Everything.
the detail. It's so beautiful about it. This is the reason why I love about female bodybuilders. It's just the beauty of the body, the beauty of the build. Because I mean, yes, it's not what you would say like if you go get yourself an issue of Playboy, you might want to see.
Yeah.
But it's just a different level. It's a different form of the woman, of the feminine body as you look. And here's this, and this gentleman here. This is your hubby.
Yes, that's my baby.
What's his name? How long y'all two been together?
I'm always horrible with dates, and he's gonna have to forgive me for this. But we got together during the pandemic. We met online. We were both ending we had already ended our marriages, and we were just, looking for just companionship and friendship, and then it blew up from there. And so he was very patient with me while I worked on my master's degree. And without him and his support and basically just telling me to try to do it one more time, like I wouldn't have touched the stage ever. So the fact that he continues to support me and this crazy preps and the things that we do, he's just amazing through and through. I'm beyond blessed. Yeah, and that's my girl, Tammy. That was my favorite video. Competing was awesome at Tampa Pro. I love Tampa Pro, but this right here was just a core memory for me. Like my coach just sat down and she's like, all right, she pulls out her camera and she's like, pose down. And Tammy, who also competed at Tampa Pro, she's wellness, as you can see. She most definitely can see. That was her second. She did her pro debut in Miami, and this was her second round. So she was very happy and pleased with the show, and she made top 10. And so we came in strong as pros, as part of the team. And that was the I Am Activewear with Julene. She was there at the show as one of the vendors. Great story also for her journey and how she came to create this activewear. So it's a pleasure to be a model, to be an ambassador for her, and to represent the brand. I mean, I'm telling you, Eileen, you are a beautiful woman. I can't Thank you. Your body. Apparently, amazing. I've been wearing cheetahs since I was little. It's just, and your husband, he kind of gives that little bit of like bald John Travolta look to him. He's got his smolder look. Yeah. I mean, and here she and his lovely green eyes. Yeah. Yes, this was Amber. Amber has been with me since year one also, and so she's always made me beautiful. It made me feel glamorous every single time I visit her. So Tampa Pro has always been our tradition every year. So it was very nice to do this second round with her as a pro. So she always knows what to do. And going back, you earned your pro card. That was at the 2023 North Americans. I know a couple ladies earned their pro card there. One lady's a friend of mine, Amanda Shooks. She was there at the venue hanging out. She's planning on competing next year. Hannah Hussein, who also had a pleasure interviewing my channel, and also Brittany Parrish, earned their pro cards at that show. What was that feeling like when they told you that you're now IFBB Pro? I mean, my heart sunk. I just remember just hearing a lot of noise, but I just didn't know what was going on. So, but I just remember being like, yeah, like it happened, like a little sports move at the victory. And to not only just win it once, but win it twice, the 2 pro cards. So I got to get 2. So I felt like that was like hitting the goal and then hitting it twice. It was just beautiful for me. And so, the first thing I did is as soon as I saw my coach, I just started crying. I just couldn't believe it. I'm like, and I'm not one to really cry. You can ask anybody. I don't like crying because it's just like when I start, I can't stop. So it took me a minute to gather myself to kind of just absorb everything. But to accomplish a goal and a dream that you never thought was going to happen again through the life's challenges that I've been through, like, it's a really beautiful experience. And for those that, and what I always love to say too, is like, I earned it. It wasn't given to me. I worked for it. I bust my butt day in and day out. I on top of a full-time job, on top of family life and emotions and everything that comes with prep. But it pays to have a supportive family. And anybody that asks me, should I jump into it right now? I mean, look at me. I didn't do it until like 10 years later, or or a little bit longer than that. But it takes time. It takes time to build a person as a whole. I had to learn a lot of things. I'm thankful I didn't, there was a lot of pushback in the beginning of when I tried to do this, because my mental state going into all this is so different than what I see other people go through. Because it's like, you want to have some type of purpose going into this for yourself. Like, I just feel like, I go in, I compete, this is my alter ego, but it's like, I go back to my life of, teaching kids and doing what I love. I get to do two cool things. That's how I see it. And so when I see a lot of people that are not mentally ready for it or just want to jump in, go ahead and try it, give it a shot. But remember, it's going to cost you financially. It's going to cost you socially. It's going to cost you mentally. And you got to fight through all of these battles. And with what I go through every single day, teaching a bunch of different personalities and taking them through the journey of life and trying to share my experiences, it's not easy, and I'm thankful for the accountability that I receive from another friend at my home gym, because I also have my prep coach, but I also have another friend who became not only just a strength coach, but he became a friend, he became a mentor through everything too. And so through his guidance and his help also, and accountability, because coming after teaching, you're drained to death pretty much. And so mentally, can you push 5 more reps, or can you push for another set? On your own, some nights are hard, and I'm there till 6, 7, 8 o'clock on some evenings, and then having to go and meal prep and get into that same discipline for the next day, and waking up at 4 a.m. and doing it all over again. But when students see that they have no excuse and that they know that this can be done, it makes it all worthwhile. They're my motivation. So, and seeing my family just cheer me on. And at the beginning, they didn't know what this world was. And it took my mother, if you know anything about Puerto Rican moms and dads, they're just like, what are you doing? Why are you hopping on stage like this? And until I brought my mother to go see my suit being made, it hit it for her like, oh, this is what you do. Like, this is different. You're not trying to, like you had said, like prance on, in a bikini and doing, I'm like, no, I'm doing work just like bikini competitors and wellness competitors. We're displaying a physique we're proud of. And so, Virginia, who does my suits, she does it for some of our teammates on the team and has been also with Lolita for a very long time. She custom made every piece, and I told her this round, I was like, I want purple. And so I was very, very excited about it. But everything about it is just very special. It's a special journey and even when I tried on my first suit with Virginia, I cried. I treated it like a wedding dress. Like, that's a proud moment when you walk on and you have this display. And that was honestly the first time I put on a bikini. So wearing my first suit was the first time I put a bikini on my body. I was like, oh, this is different. So it was an experience to go through all that too as a woman, for someone who covered up, because at max, when I was 18, 19 years old, I was a max of 205. So it was a hard start, but I was at my heaviest in that beginning. And then I fluctuated between 185, 190. So it was always like a up and down. And that's when I made that decision to see Lolita to get it going.
Yeah,
That
I
was
can
one of
understand that, because I understand. I've been battling, being overweight for a long time. My heaviest was it a few years ago. Um, I was taking care of my mom. I know it's the story is that really the reason why I got into doing this content, because I've been a fan of bodybuilding for a long time, especially y'all ladies, And when I got into it, is because my mom was sick. She was sick for a long time. I was taking care of her, and then I was just needed something to help with the stress and responsibilities and the weight of it. And I started doing it because a guy I know, he's a good friend of mine. His name is Coach Sheridan Harrison. He's a fitness instructor and coaching of athletes. And he told me, do something that you like to do and something you like. I said, well, I'm a fan of bodybuilding, and especially the women. So I started doing videos and content, and then a few years later, started doing some interviews. It's hard to get some y'all because y'all busy. Y'all got this and that and that. And when she passed, my mom, and she died during the pandemic. She was already sick, and then once the virus got her, there was not much, but. And then I started really getting more invested in it because I don't really have anything else. I don't have kids. I don't have a wife. I just got me. Everybody else, I grew up with three brothers. Actually, I got two brothers, but I have another brother. He's the oldest, my father's son, and I have
Mhm.
four sisters, but that's my father's son after my mother. And also I grew up with my nieces and nephews. Like we're pretty much a family, and they have their lives. My youngest nephew just has his ninth child.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And my sister keeps telling me, say, you know what, you're not too old. I'm going to be 51 in November. I'm done. My best years was 20 years ago. And doing this content about you ladies, it really helped me out. Because one thing was I was almost at 500 pounds. I was just 20 pounds away from it. Then when I saw a picture of myself sitting in my mom's funeral, after the funeral was eaten, I said, wow, I really, really, I didn't think I was big, but I didn't think I was that big. And
Mhm.
right now, I made some decisions, made some changes, and then I'm at 405. I want to do a little more, but I have issues with my knees, and then I need more discipline. It's not one thing. It's not the most just motivation, but
Mhm.
discipline. Knowing how much
Mhm.
you can do, having control, understanding everything. And sometimes food is the one thing about it because sometimes
It's
it's
hard.
just yeah, it's hard. We got some comments here. Shout out to my guests. They're waiting in the corners. Shout out here to my man K Elder Wonder. He says, what's going on? Not much, brother. What's going on with you? Also, he
Mhm.
says this. He says this says you should like Dorothy from the Wizard of Oz, George, in terms of who you saw at the Tampa Bay Pro. Yes, brother. It was exciting for me. I was talking to one person. I said like that. I said like for me, I felt like, especially meeting some of your ladies, especially the ones that follow social media, does the interviews with. I felt like remember years ago when Joe Montana was at a football game, he was interviewing his female reporter. I felt intoxicated like Joe. I said, I just want to kiss you. If I like, I just want to kiss you. I was so intoxicated by you, really. But that was for me. It was great for me because it was the second time me going to a show, and I'm
That's
hoping to
great. Mhm.
maybe go to one in the future.
Mhm.
Also, he says this. He says Eileen is a brick house.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. He's talking about another brick too, but it's not the house. But and also he says this shout out to my man. He's a fan. He's a fan. He says when you
Yeah.
meet your your guy husband and I need to start with my glasses
It
more.
was actually through my cousin had put me on it because she's like, you need to socialize more. It was a date, not even a dating room, chat rooms. I'm trying to think of it. And it was Kick or something like that. And so he didn't appear much in the room. And it was it was just a random group of people that just shared similar interests. And so he messaged me on the side and I didn't really talk much on there. So I was just kind of like, whatever goes, will go. And so we met up, on his birthday at a like a museum situation that there was like an event going on, like an art festival, and we had lunch and just talked, and we just continued it ever since, and we just hit it off. But it was just next thing you knew, the following year we were already getting married. So we did it quick. We eloped. So I'm not a. I asked him. I go, "Do you want a wedding? It's totally up to you." And he goes, "Nope." I'm like, "All right." So we did it in an after school situation. We just went and did it. So and it was during the
Yeah,
pandemic too. So, but I mean,
yeah.
he's been awesome ever since. Like I said, and I wouldn't be here today if it weren't for his support. To start pushing me to be like, go give it a shot. So it always takes. It helps when you have support. And
I,
have somebody behind you.
and you said earlier you were married before, and
Yes.
was he supportive about your path as a bodybuilder?
No, it was a very dark time, unfortunately. And just the person's desires, who you think that you've married and who you thought you were going to be with for the rest of your life, ended up being completely a different person. And but there's other things as well. As a female, you know, in a marriage, you can tend to lose yourself and make your life all about the other individual. And unfortunately, that's what I did. And so to the point where I lost sight of who I was. So it was a very dark time, about like eight years of just up and downs. Unfortunately, you know, substances that he used on his end caused him to be something he shouldn't have been. And so with an abusive marriage and an abusive background, you were afraid. And I was thankful, like I said, you know, family is everything, you know, always, even if you're always mad at your loved ones, or, you know, which, you know, I caused an uproar within the family of all my antics at the time. And so I was very thankful for my family, who sat me down and basically told me, you know, you are who you are. You can get out of whatever situation you're in. And they reminded me of that. And I was able to get out of a very toxic marriage, which was very, very tough. And no matter how many times I tried to keep myself healthy or try to pursue the bodybuilding journey, it was always a battle. And so that's when I just decided I'm going to stop. I was like, I'm never going to pursue it again. But after the divorce and everything, I started to slowly get back into weightlifting and just trying to lose the weight that I gained so much. I was at an unhealthy weight. And so for me, I was like, I'm ready to just get back to what it is that I used to be. And even now, and being married to my current husband, like you know, going to therapy, because I'm a big advocate on that. And he's been patient with me and just trying to make sure that I just want to make sure I'm okay. That any memories or anything or behaviors too that I may bring up or do, like I got it in check, because you never know with prep, it brings out things out of you that are not healthy, you know. And I don't take medication for my anxiety, because I have anxiety. And it's something that I try to work through. Same with the whole ADHD. I'm a hyper bug. I'm always here, there, and everywhere. My mom always told me I was a tornado in a glass. And so I was like, that's pretty much, you know, what it is. Like my tutor, like, you know, who I have working with me, my students see it. Like I never sit still. And so I'm always moving about. And that's what I love about the bodybuilding field, is that it almost forces me to do certain things that I wouldn't normally do. I have to force myself to rest. I have to force myself to make sure my stress levels are, you know, at a decent rate, so that I'm not raising my cortisol levels. So it's almost training someone who has like severe anxiety as well as the ADHD to just calm down. And so you channel it, you know, in a different way. And those who have that also, you know, those Michelin stars chefs that you see in the restaurant business, like they all have ADHD and they channel it into something. And that's something why I always love watching them also, because it reminds me, like, you can channel your energy into something positive, even as something like this or whatever would just spark a flame or ignite something inside of you.
I remember a show I used to watch with my mom sometimes. We're up in the night before I go to bed. Before we both go to bed, it was a show called Chop. You ever heard of Chop?
Yep.
Where
Mm-hmm.
they had this one guy who's a black British chef. And he's talking about, my cooking's not that good. Yada, yada. And the judge says, your cooking's great. I just said he was always downtrodden himself,
Toughest
but
critic.
he was just, like I said, you're coming your own worst enemy. That's why I say, like, for me going to Tampa, I had to get out of my own way. I had to get out of my comfort zone. When I'm home, I don't do anything other than go to a doctor's appointment or go to my laundry. I did it yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even really shop that often. Like I can have it delivered to the house. Thanks to my niece, she gave me an app for Walmart. Because I got two bad knees like Stone Cold Steve Austin. And that trip after that, I was like, yeah, I'm still trying to recover. But yeah, it's good when you have somebody like that. Be it your wife, be it a husband, be it your parents, friends, siblings that support you, because this sport can be extreme. The stuff that's involved in it. Always people accusing one thing about bodybuilders, the use of performance enhancers, be it PEDs, antibiotics, whatever. But that's only the small factor to it. If you're not
Mm-hmm.
disciplined, you're not persistent, if you're not consistent, you're not going to build. If you're not going to be like an Andrea Shaw. You're not going to be a Stead Gill. You're not going to be a Samson Duda. You're not going to be
Mm-hmm.
any of the top level competitors if you don't stay consistent, stick to a plan.
Yeah.
But again, some people, as I often say, they don't have a plan. They just don't have one. So as one thing I feel like this, the fun thing for y'all ladies is the expense, because it's, I think I say this often. I put this out, and I'm gonna say this out. I say for y'all ladies, it's more of expense to compete compared to the men. The guys, and I'm gonna say it like this: they just gotta wear a pair of banana hammocks and board shorts. Y'all ladies have these posing suits.
Mm.
You gotta count the other stuff like paying your coach, the travel to the shows. If you're doing masters, you gotta pay. The cost of your hair, your makeup, your suits right there. That's a rent, car note, mortgage. There's so many expenses, but yet you do it because if you're lucky enough, you win the title. Like April, she got the Master Olympic qualification because it was too.
Mhm.
They told me it was for this year's Masters. That's too soon. I mean, I was talking to Keisha Jones, and not Keisha, Keisha Oliver, who won the women's 40 plus in bodybuilding, and it's too soon. I think one lady I follow, she just got her qualification Masters, and another lady, she got hers. She's also a Puerto Rican, Yaris Perez. Have you ever heard her?
Mhm.
She got her qualification for 2027, and also another lady, and that's a expense. I know I was talking ladies that some ladies had to drop out because they couldn't afford the trip. They do GoFundMe, but here's the about GoFundMe: they take a cut, because I know
Yeah.
I had one a couple of years ago because I thought it was going to. My mom passed, thought I was going to move, but because I lived there for so long,
Mhm.
it's my
Oh,
apartment now. But I did a GoFundMe. I had a few bucks left, and then after that, they took a cut of it. And it's hit or miss. Unless you're some sick kid or something like that, usually most people don't want to donate to people that's bodybuilders. Hello? I think she froze.
oh,
Eileen?
sorry.
Yeah.
I think my battery's low, running low. Sorry.
That's why I said charge your phone before you start these things.
It was. It
Uh,
took a lot.
you gotta charge. You can plug it in when you
Just
see.
I've been running around all day.
Yeah, this is a saying I say. I learned it from a great master who taught one of my favorite heroes, Superman, no Batman, Ra's al Ghul, the Demon's Head. Beware of surroundings and young mistress Eileen. Never give up sure footing for a killing blow. But as I was saying, the cost expense for y'all women is a lot. And then I just saw like yesterday, Brittany Watts, or Brittany Herrera, she goes by. She won $15,000 at the Texas Club,
Hmm. Yeah.
and
And I
that's
met her before. She's a Florida native.
yeah,
So
yeah,
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 she's down south. Yeah. She's
yeah,
been in the game for a minute. So
yeah.
congrats
Yeah,
to her.
I think she last competed was 2021
Yeah.
Tampa, and she's been involved for a few years. I know a guy he interviewed a while back, and she may announce a return. Very impressive.
Mhm.
I ran into Paula Ranta and I asked her what she do. She said, "I am doing Texas." I said, "Sit your young." I'm thinking
She's
about
done quite a few shows.
sit your young behind down. I'm gonna say you're 25. You're 25. I remember when I was 25. I could run all day, run all night. Now I'm 50. I can't do that. You and then also, you competed in Chicago with Marika. You know what she
Hmm.
did? I interviewed Marika a couple of times. I think she's a beautiful lady. I call her the Iron Woman. Did two shows within almost a 24-hour period.
Yeah.
That I think she said she's done. She's done. She's done, son. But I mean,
They
his
keep
thing is,
going.
I understand you want to be competitive, but at the same time, like one person, she's a good bodybuilder, I say, but I'm not a big fan of hers. That's Natalia Cuejo. And when you have
Yeah.
been Miss Olympia and you come in the show and you thinking, hey, I get a chance, I might go to the Olympic, yay! And then he says, here goes, here you go, everybody. I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, my language, but they say, damn, why she's here? I mean, but it's about the nature of competition, the joy of it. You may not make as much money out of it, like the guys do. If you look at now, the Arnold Schwarzenegger class just shot up his prize money for the men to nearly
Hmm.
over almost a quarter of $1 million. So but you ladies, y'all put in a lot of work, a lot of time, and maybe not the same level as the men, but you deserve a lot more recognition.
Yeah. And it's been a challenge just because when you plan out the shows for the season and you're trying to see, what would be best and what works with your schedule, there's not many options left over anymore for our division. So um I was speaking with another person today about it, and it's kind of worrisome because it's kind of like, where do we fit in anymore? Do you guys like us anymore? We know the wellness category and figure. They're always big categories also, but it's like, but we work hard too. And for us, we, we want our shot as much as possible. And I'm, it's nice that like Sarah Villegas, like she's created this platform where she's trying to advocate for us and give us all a shot and, make other promoters aware, like put us in, like we want our shot too. But I also know that it's a tough category and it's a fine line between
let me check you out
physique
that.
and bodybuilding.
Let me check out that. The toughest is women's bodybuilding because it's the architect for everything. The one thing was if it wasn't for women's bodybuilding, wouldn't be physique, wouldn't be figure, wouldn't be even fitness. The others like bikini was brought in because they wanted to get more mainstream attention. Wellness was brought in, but the two divisions had evolved along with the sport. Then you had this new division, excuse me, call it fit model. And it's supposed to be about let's get more people in recognition. His thing is this is supposed to be bodybuilding. You just can't bring somebody off a beach or doing cardio off there at their house. And then again, what's going to happen is that division is going to evolve like the others. Like with Physique, if you look at Zama did get a stint in women's bodybuilding. She was top 3 at Remember Fest back in 2022. She beat out 2 ladies who were Olympia previous competitors. You look at I saw someone who I ran into real Lois Lane herself. I was wearing my Superman shirt that day, and I say Lois Lane, Superman, and she's a level. I remember that year when Natalia and Emily Schubert competed at a show. And Emily, somebody said she's going through some issues right now, but me, I don't know, may not. And some ladies were trying to squeeze themselves in a division where you don't really belong in it anymore. You need to go up. What do if you go up? That fuse division because Physique was brought in supposed to be replaced with women's bodybuilding. As you know, as Arnold pushed it out of his shows, promoters put out his shows. As the IFBB walked quietly, is one of my favorite quotes from Raza Gold himself. As the IFBB walked quietly behind women's bodybuilding, stabbed in the heart. But then because women's physique, it started getting seen stink eye because the level of muscle development. But the thing is, you can't put it all on the competitors. It's like the judges. Like if Shanique Grant is now doing wellness. If Shanique was still a champion, you still have that certain level where, hey, very attractive, great muscle. But now Sarah, she comes in crazy peeled. Her glutes.
Her conditioning is always beautiful.
Her glutes like you can slice ham and cheese on it, make yourself a sandwich. And then you have someone like Natalia, who was like Ashley at one point. Ashley Jones was in figure. Then she did physique, and now she's winning bodybuilding. It's just about the growth and development of the athlete. But when you don't say, we have a problem division, reel it in. Put in the standards, put in the 6 of the criteria. But when you lie,
that's people, what I mean. I use Sarah as the standard, just like you would use Sydney Gillen as the standard for figure. Whoever is going to take it this year, that's who you look up to and strive to at least match that physique because I that's what I constantly look at is, Sarah Villegas. Now, at the time when I was figure, I was looking at Sydney Gillen. When I was in that category, I wanted to do figure at the time. But then when I started, developing and growing more, I started looking at Sarah Villegas. I'm like, all right, she's the standard. And then when I saw other women come in and seeing them in different lights and perspectives, I kept still seeing Sarah Villegas, no matter who was Olympians at that point, whether it was Natalia or whomever. I just kept looking at Sarah Villegas because I'm like, that's the physique I want. And even like if I weren't to make it to Olympia, that's the physique that I'm always going to strive for because her physique is always, I think it's always a nice piece. To me, that's women's physique.
To me personally, the two that really assumes physique to me is Sharonica Hinton and Brooke Walker. To me, I think Brooke had that great look to her, very feminine, great muscle. As you know, Brooke just got her qualification at Tupelo, and also she has some new adages. Also Sharonica, who got to meet up close and personal, she is a lovely lady. And to me, she's been
Veronica's another great one. Yeah, she's a great person.
She fits the standard to me. But then if you look at Shanique, you look at Sarah and Natalia, they're kind of going past the criteria a bit. I remember a friend of mine told me that a few years ago they wanted who was the champion for Shanique. It was what's her name? She beat Daylin Bailey.
Dana Lynn Bailey.
No, it was after Daylin Bailey. She was the she just forgot her name, but she was the 4-time physique champion. And they said was telling me that they wanted to move up to women's bodybuilding, but she didn't want to do it. That's why she quit. It'll pop in my head later. Because physique, I wasn't too much a fan of the division. I call it watered down
Mhm.
women's bodybuilding, but pretty much a good amount of my content is doing physique and women's bodybuilding. Also, I've been getting the figure. Even any of you ladies in uh, figure, some bikini competitors, a couple of wellness, and I even interview a fit model competitor because your stories, your paths of why you got in your sport, your experiences, really interesting. People need to know that.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. So,
It's
so
definitely important.
yeah.
We all have
So
a story to tell. So it's if it's something that we could share with the with the masses of why we do what we do and why we love doing what we're doing, that's what makes it all worthwhile. This division may not pay much or pay anything return, but our stories are valuable. So
yeah.
each one is very important.
So, and when you're training, what's the regimen like, and what's the thing that you feel like your best feature, and that really stands out about you?
It changes every year, but what I train 6 days a week, with one rest day. Um, we focus on different parts every single day and legs twice a week just because we got to build those quads and glutes and hams. During on season it comes up to 3 times a week, so just focusing on different parts and gradually increasing and just refining. um I love to do plyometrics when I'm, in some conditioning work on occasion, but it's little pieces. And depending on how my body's growing and developing, it's whatever coach says goes. So, like I go by them just because, I mean, that's why you get into the bodybuilding field. You hire these coaches and they're your advisors, because with what I do in my job and just working, I need somebody to think for me. And so when it comes to training and doing all those pieces, they move the chess pieces and I just follow through with it. And I'm a person that loves to do homework, and I do the extra credit and I try to find different things that'll help me grow and develop. And same goes for posing. Posing is another workout, in itself. And it's like Steve Weinberger is always in my head. That man, he's a tough cookie. And so when I did Chicago and we were up there for good almost 10 minutes. And I thought I was going to pass out. We were drenched in sweat afterwards, but it was definitely fierce, but I'm thankful for that. And I think I missed your second question. I'm sorry.
What feel like is your best feature
Oh,
physically
my
when you're
best
training?
feature. Legs, back. I think I always get the most compliments on it. And like, even my husband will tease me around. Like, he'll just be like, look at those lats. And he'll just grab them, like playing around. But it's something that I'm very most proud of, and he's proud of too. And so, um, I've always had a big back, thanks to my dad and the genetics and stuff like that. And I've always felt like it was one of my biggest features was back.
Hmm. Now, when you're gym, what's that exercise that you say, you know what, it's a great day, and that exercise when you coach you say, damn, why I got to do this?
On days like that, that's like during testing season, and I'm like everywhere. when I'm when I have moments like that, you sit down and you think about why you do it. But I've always, part of my life and my faith is just like I always pray for opportunities to remind why I'm doing what I'm doing. And it wasn't like not too long ago when I was just not feeling the gym. I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to go anywhere. It was just rough all around. Just everything was hitting at me. And I was sitting down, and then one of my students sat next to me, and she's like, she's like, when I sit next to you, she goes, I feel so powerful. I feel so invincible. And that meant the world to me. So it's like when I left the work, or, like when I left my job, and after she said that, I'm like, I got to be powerful for her. I got to continue to do those things. That's what, like, screw my emotions. It doesn't mean anything. It's only temporary, and there's always something greater coming. And I always try to look forward to that. Maybe it's the Pisces in me too, like always dreaming and always wanting to do more and excel in different things. So when I do have moments like that, I look for moments like my students, or for something that has happened in the past where I've motivated somebody, and to be like, you know what, that's for them. And I look at my dad too. My dad, he can't really drive anymore. He can't really do much as he used to, as far as like weightlifting and stuff like that. So he's one that taught me this discipline big time. And so for me, it was like, it didn't matter if you had to wake up at 3 a.m. to get it done, you got it done. And so that's just, he's one of the biggest voices in my head that help me to keep going regardless of what my emotions are, because it's only temporary.
Yeah, he said, Mita, you got to keep doing this. You got to keep doing this. We got to be proud of you.
Yeah.
I know. Has he ever been to your shows, your dad?
Oh yeah, my dad is gone. Yeah, it's just hard for him just because health wise, sitting and his hips and everything like that. It's hard for him to sit through the shows, but he's always rooting for me. And I make sure that when I come back, I show him the medal and everything like that. But he's always been the whole family, and it's like, that's one of the prides of being a Rican. You got the whole family behind you, your cousins, your fulano, and everybody in between, and so everybody's always watching.
Guayla, everybody did that. I mean,
Everybody.
everybody famous, your family. Yeah, that's our baby. That's our Pabino. That's our, and then some guy saying, "Hey, that's that. She's a hot little Puerto Rican, yeah." And then he gets jumped on by 20, 30 Puerto Ricans and one white dude. So yeah, but that's good because I talk to ladies, and I've told you this often. They tell me that how their parents, like one lady I know, she told me how her mother likes to talk about it. Her dad comes to a show, but her mother says, "I don't, sweetheart, I be worried about you, being not finding anybody." She has a nice boyfriend. They may not have kids, but they have a good relationship. They have dogs. I know people who have families, they have children, they raise them, they're doing the sport and finding their passion for it. And it's good you have that. Most people don't have that. Like I said, you went through a bad marriage. I talked to ladies who went through bad marriages. I remember one lady told me that they had divorced because of bodybuilding. But this is a sport about you more than them. And if they can't understand, this is something that you like doing. So, this is a question I ask you, ladies, and especially, as you know, food's part of the process of bodybuilding. It's very important, but it's the right foods. But share with me, Eileen, share with me, what is that thing that you wanted? That thing that make you stranger, but make you stronger to the show.
The one thing that, say that one more time because it went out.
The one thing that makes you stranger but make you stronger. That food that you wanted after the show.
The food that I just wanted. It's crazy. I'm a weirdo. I mean, a lot of people are like, I want this, I want that. I really wanted a ginger ale. It's so stupid. I know it's silly, but I am maybe because I've been doing this for so many years, like 15 plus years. And I've always loved the diet and the structure. So for me, I wanted another burger. I wanted another burger. So I got instead of a single burger, I got a double burger. I went ham. I went strongman mode. And so I got 2 different French fries. And then, of course, because it was Cheesecake Factory, I wanted my cheesecake. So I had my salted caramel cheesecake. But I waited to get home to the hubs to want, I've really wanted sushi. That's like my biggest thing. So I know it's weird. I'm very simple. I'm not like.
No, you're not the first person to say sushi. I've had quite a few people say, me, I'm like this. I grew up poor, but not that poor where I ate cold raw fish. It was either fried, that just me. You're not the first to tell me about sushi. That's something I don't think I would want to do. I would like something that's cooked, that's done. I can taste it. If I want something cold, I get out of the freezer and eat it out of the freezer. But but yeah, you're not the weird. I've heard some different ones, and ginger ale is nice. I remember one time years ago I had pneumonia real bad. And ginger ale kept my I drink water, keep me hydrated. I drink ginger ale to keep my stomach settled. I remember on my train ride, I got a can of ginger ale, and it was nice. It's just the taste of it's so great. It's not too sugary.
It's something fizzy, something refreshing. Yeah,
it's refreshing about that.
I'm still waiting to get my barbecue though, because I am a barbecue girl. I do love. I could eat a whole rack of ribs on a good day if I wanted to. But I think though also like learning from last season, for somebody now on the pro level, the expectations are different. And so it's like, as much as I want to go hard, maybe have a whole pizza or not eat a whole pizza, but, have a couple slices of pizza. Now it's like your mentality changes a little bit. And it's like, all right, you made top 5. Now, what are you going to do with that? What are your goals? What are your intentions now that, and I'm that type of individual also that I debrief with myself and like what went well, what were your glows and grows, if you want to call it that. And for me, the last season, I struggled a lot with the body fat. I got a little too lax, and then the stress levels of life and work and everything hit me hard to the point where when it came time for prep, it was a lot harder to get everything down and to be conditioned like I wanted it to be. So it's like now when you're on the pro level and when you've already made it to the top already and you're standing next to these Olympians, it's almost kind of like you can't miss a beat. You know, like this is the second time where I say to myself, I had like a little mini Olympia. And it's like, where do I go from here? And it's like, well, back to business on Monday. You know, like I'll have my treats here and there, but it's in moderation, you know. And even the husband, like he'll get into it with me and he's like, all right, in a week or two, then we can go out to dinner, we can have our little thing, but we go in hard because every rep counts, every bite counts. And you know, you want to be up there, and I want to be able to say that I'm Olympia qualified very soon, and to do it in a short amount of time, because this is already what, year 3 and about to be year 4. So I'm ready for it. I want more.
It's like you want to get over the top. You want to get you like the best way to say it. It's not like the quote Rocky Balboa. It's not how hard you think you hits, how hard you take the hits and keep moving forward. You got to keep moving forward. That's how it's winning and stuff, folks. There's this little video I saw because as often as I am on YouTube, because that's where most of my content is. And that's where more of my followers are than IG. I find little videos because, as I said again, my master, the Raza Ghul, the demons, had taught me to be aware of my surroundings. And I saw this little video she did. This was right after she got a pro card. I don't know if she remembers it, but I hope she loves it. So here we go, folks. This is her after getting her pro card at the North Americans back in 2023.
Okay. This is Neil Cash, NBC News Online. We're here at the 2023 North American Championship with your Women's League 35 overall champion and new IFBB pro, Eileen, and I don't want to butcher the last name. What is it?
Aviles.
Eileen Aviles.
Yeah.
Eileen, congratulations. New IFBB pro overall champ. How's it feel?
Feels amazing. 12 years waiting to get to this point. So it's been an experience and a lot of challenges, but I'm happy I made it to this point. So
12 years.
Yes, I did a little strongman in the background, had some challenges here and there, and never gave up, and finally found the coach that I desired and decided to give it one more shot.
Okay, so how many national shows have you done?
I did last year's, which was December. So last year was technically my rookie year, but I'd been trying to compete for a very long time, but got kicked back through some life circumstances and whatnot. So last year was technically the year, and I did the national show in Orlando.
Okay, how'd that go?
It went well. I made first call out, but top 7. So it was good.
Okay.
So good.
So top 7 at your first national show, first call out. So in the mix, but still a little ways to go.
Yes.
Come here, North Americans this year. Coming back with the overall championship in 35, right? So that's awesome. Congratulations. That's a hell of a redemption.
It is. Yeah.
Okay, so what's next?
The hope is to just take some time to grow and hopefully pursue another show to do my pro debut and then see what happens from there.
All right, so what's the forecast for the pro debut? When can we expect?
Well, the hope would be the following next year just to get some time, but being that I won the pro cards, I'm pretty sure coach is going to want to pursue something by the end of this year. So
we can be looking forward to maybe seeing you on stage in 2023.
Probably, yeah, just to get a debut going.
Well, that's awesome. Anybody you want to give a shout out to or thank?
Just God first and foremost to get me this point. My family, my friends, and my husband who pushed me to give me another chance to do this, and so his support was just amazing from beginning to end. But my family and my coach, especially Lolita Riley, who just took me from the beginning, just mentored me, and I just feel so blessed to be under her mentorship and her leadership, and to come to this point. And I look forward to just seeing what's next with her in the future.
All right, well, I'm looking forward to seeing your pro career. Okay, now the journey starts over, right back to the bottom, but I'm sure you'll work your way back to the top.
Yeah, so I'm excited to work for it, though.
All right. Okay. Neil Cash, Eileen, your overall 35 champ. NBC News, we out. Congratulations.
Yeah, that's great. I think I saw Neil. He was there at Tampa. Yeah, I think I see. Yeah,
He was. I saw him.
Yeah, I mean, it was, when you were smiling, you were cheesing.
I was cheesing for beauty.
And like I said, and you look so lovely, you're such, I'm like, man, don't thank me. It's my honor and pleasure to tell ladies she's lovely. So yeah, but that's experience, and support for your husband, your family, your friends. Bodybuilding is a tough sport, and it gets a lot of, pushback because of the use of performance enhancers, but it's only the small factor of what it causes. If you don't follow your diet, you don't work your plan, you don't listen to your coach, you're not going to come in the levels like the competitors that are in the top of the sport. And it's not as lucrative if you look at it as any other sport where you play football, basketball, you get in the league, you don't have to even be the top, player. You can still make a good chunk of change. My friend, his name is Big Keith Williams, he's IFBB Pro. He played in the NFL for a few years, and he still gets a good chunk of change, a pension. I wish it was more like a mainstream sport. It got a little like I remember it used to be on television. You can catch it on ESPN, ABC News, NBC News, Fox Sports. But now you can only watch it either on the internet or watch pay-per-views. After my trip from Tampa, my funds are a little bit low, so I can't watch the pay-per-views. So I just have to stretch my dollars at the end of the month. But this is a sport I think I've been a fan of, and my man here, he's more a fan of women, a muscle much of the sport. But I really get to learn something when I get to talk to you ladies, get your aspects and thoughts of it.
Like my thoughts of it, as far as,
overall, how the sport has evolved in your opinion since
has it evolved? I mean, it's changed. It's changed a lot over the last few years. It's like you said, adding categories, and people are saying the politics of it all has changed over time. But I think as a person, if you love the sport for what it is, if you love competing, and just sharing your journey and all the fluff like that, all can go aside. Cause like I said before, for me, myself, I walk in loving this sport and loving for what it is, but I know I have a responsibility and a job and a purpose that was given to me. And so for me, it's like, this is eventually going to end at some point. The stage the lights will dim for somebody, or, life events happens to where you can't make it to stage anymore. And it's like, for me personally, can I walk away from it? Yes, I can. And I love it for what it is. And other people can enjoy the sport for what it is too. But for me, as things evolve and change, I'll keep doing what I'm doing because I love it. I'm not in it for the glam. I'm not in it so much for, all that stuff. I love it for the sport and the passion and to share the journey with everybody else. And for those that want to just jump on the ride and share that journey with me, I'm totally for it. But as it evolves and changes, for me, I'm all about the peace and love with everybody and just for the love of the sport. But overall, it's a great competitive sport for those that want to try it and jump into it. Go for it. Give it a shot. I wouldn't see what's the chance, like you're not losing anything, maybe a couple dollars, but you just spend a little bit of money. I just found out today you had to pay for masters. I was like, what? I was like, you have to pay I didn't know that.
Because this is a friend of mine, she told me that because she was doing a master show. She told me, George, I gotta pay like $250 just to compete. The Masters not as popular, but now you have the Masters Olympia. Chicago are master shows. The Linda Murray's are master shows. There's a couple of master shows are coming up that are not Olympic qualified. There's the Masters Championships is coming in Pittsburgh at the end of the month. I talked to a lady who's going to compete there too, quite a few ladies. And it's just because it's not as popular as the open division. But you have so many, like I interviewed a lady who's 74 years old, and she made her debut right after she got a pro card. That was about a couple years ago, about the same time, lovely Miss Rebecca Woody. And she was 34 at the time, and she's now 76. She stopped competing after that last show. But it's about a passion. But then again, it should be something out of it. If anything, more or less, okay, to cover the cost of your travel, to cover the cost of this and that. If you get sick, it's a good thing that you're a teacher, you have benefits and stuff like that. You have.
But I'll be honest though, like, would I love to be sponsored and represent a company? Oh, totally. I'm like, Evoja, Gasp, hear me out. Like, because that
helps.
A broke teacher status, like even in the summer, like currently right now. So during the summer, they take our retroactive pay so that, any government cents that come, from taxpayer dollars, that's taken away. And that's where you see a lot of teachers take 2-3 jobs. Like this is the second year that I am not working a summer. And that's just because things got serious with bodybuilding. So it was just like, which do I choose? Do I work this summer? Do I do summer school, or do I, go compete and do what I love to do? But I chose it because this is my me time. Everybody's me time is a little different. I'm not a parent, I'm a doggy mom. So for me, I'm just like, I do things on my own. So most of the time I'm alone. And so I'm okay with this being part of my hobby because I'm with my team. I'm with, my girls, or, like things like that. And I'm working on another part of Eileen, which is beautiful, but it is costly. And so it's like, you want to represent a company and be sponsored to continue to do those things and to continue the sport and love it. But at some point, it was very difficult and challenging. I mean, down to the food bills, like the grocery bills on its own is ridiculous. So, and the way that the world's going and how everything is changing, you don't know what the future looks like for bodybuilding as far as like, usual faces making it to the stage. My hope is I can, pay a lot of things off and be able to save enough to get at least one show in next year if possible. And that's the hope.
That's sometimes my friend tells me like that. Sometimes you got to steal for Peter to pay Paul.
Mm-hmm.
And and it's an expensive hobby for bodybuilding. Sponsorship does help. Like shout out to my man, to my girl Eunice. She bad rap. They sponsor bodybuilders. Yeah, they're doing some good work. There's others like Wings of Strength. They used to do that, but now Jake is focused more on Olympia now. Yeah. And and if you can find the right person, some ladies they do certain things to make, but it's not for everybody. If you're not that type, if it's not for you, you're very private. You got a job where you have to be careful about when you show yourself, because parents be like, you might still have guys who are teachers say, why your teacher's so strong? You might have.
I get it all the time. I get it all the time. When I had an orientation with students and things were great and parents were just like looking at me like, what is going on? And I'm like, hi, welcome. Like everything, and I'm always covered up, as you can see. It's just like, it's not, and that could be just like the athlete background from me. Just like we were always taught, like you never saw, you were always geared up. And so that's always something that's been a part of me. Cause even the kids are like, you don't show off your muscle. I'm like, why? It's mine. Like, I don't need to show everybody everything all the time. I said, when the time comes, that's the time. Other than that, I don't need to. I'm okay. And I want my girls to see that too, because we live in a world now with social media where everything's open. And so for me, I think it's important to show that side too. It's like, yeah, we can be feminine. We can show off the beautiful parts, but there's beauty and sexy within the modesty of a woman too, and being professional. And so I want them to see there's both sides, but I was raised differently too with my mama, because, I didn't wear shorts outside. And even to this day, I said, if I wore shorts, I'm like, is this short too short? Because you think you're going to kind of get a chancla from the corner somewhere from my mother.
My mother had to raise me, my brothers and sisters, and my nieces and nephews. And we can wear shorts because we it's out there. We're boys. Different rules for boys when it comes to girls. Yeah, and I think even if you quite a few ladies who were teachers, and say their students love it. You have the flip side with some parents. The mom may not like it as much. The dad, he might like it a little bit more. You be saying, Miss Aviles, can we have a few?
They're more scared than anything. I get more scared than those types of comments. It's more just like, what do you do?
You still get those other guys, because the fact is there are those other guys like this, like you say, like, hey Eileen, I've seen your stuff.
Like,
so you think you wanna do one-on-one tutoring me? No, stop that. No. Not the type of tutoring you think you're gonna. Nah.
Not at all.
This is what I think. I say this, and this is an example I put out there. I say, Miss Aviles, we are interested in you. You are story as a teacher, your path, your interest in bodybuilding, and just you're generally all athlete. So, madam, if you are comfortable with what we have planned for you, it is a program to help advance yourself in the sport. Also, in trade, we get a little something from yourself with promotion. So if this is something you feel like it might work with you and you are agreeable with it, there's nothing that offends your senses, we would like you to be one of our brand ambassadors. So let us know, and we are welcome to have you on board.
Thank you. Yeah, we'll talk. That'd be good.
Sign contract, baby. But yeah, I think it will be. I wish people were more open-minded. I think society, they view women muscle as something it's just a freak. But y'all ladies are wonderful ladies. There's amazing ladies. Yes, there's always the issues of what's involved with bodybuilding and all that stuff. But other sports, it just happens. But because they're overlooked because it's so mainstream. I talked to a lady a couple of days ago. She's a boxer, and there's fighters have died in the ring, outside the ring, but because boxing is so mainstream and popular, it's overlooked.
Yep.
Because it's so easy to pick on bodybuilding, saying, "Hey, you use this, you use that." Your women have muscles in most dudes, and they get and all this other stuff like that, and because it's just something that's not the norm. But in my conversations, in my doing this content, I've met some amazing women. Also, met some women who are not so amazing. I like to say, I would tell you if I'm not a fan of you, I let you know. There's some ladies I like. What I say about Natalia, I respect her as an athlete, but I'm not a big fan of hers. But you don't have to like everybody. That's the thing I learned. But the people that appreciate, like when I was there, I met some people that saw me, know my content. It was uplifting for me, that people knowing that what I'm doing, and meeting people like Daphne, and and I even sent pictures to her husband Keith. He said thank you because usually most of the time if it's Tim Gardner or Steve Weinberger, they'll get their shows the same day. Their pictures out the same day, and sometimes I think I sent something to some of the ladies say she didn't like the pictures, but it's not my fault. It's whoever the photographer is. But little things we can do as fans, as people supportive y'all ladies. Like I said again, with my channel, it's a small channel. There's other guys who do a little more. There's Female Bodybuilding channel. My man David, he lives in the area. David Bryant, Female Bodybuilding Forum. There's also another channel guy named Kalayo. They are really, I would say, top-notch guys, but everybody's style is different. And we want to focus not just on the big muscle win, but also what's behind what got you into the sport, what got you interested, the politics, everything involved with bodybuilding. We want to know what keeps y'all going. When most people were like, after a couple of lessons, say, "I'm done." People got easy discouraged when it gets difficult.
You can't when you're faced with adversity, or when you're going up against these women too, you're fighting against years of experience also. And so it's like you can't be discouraged or have a bad attitude really when you just started. Like I feel like sometimes I'm still a baby in this, and I'm still growing and learning. And so if you're not taking your feedback and you're not taking, and I hate to say losses because it's like I don't see myself as a loser. I just see myself as a placement. All right, I'm top 6. All right, I'm top 5. What do I need to do better to improve, to move to the top? It's not so much, I don't feel like a loser leaving the stage. I get to keep what I made, what I created. So I'm my own trophy. And so when you look at this world and what it brings, like, that's why I say always and always again, your mental state matters, how you go into this game. Because you're going to face adversity, you're going to face positive experiences, and you got to be ready for all of them. And so what I take from every season is, how can I be a better person, a better athlete? What do I need to grow in, and how I can be better as a presenter when it comes to these judges? Because they're going to have their favorites, they're going to have their people, but be proud of what you bring too. And I'm very proud of what I brought this year, and I look forward to growing and increasing, but within a good time frame. There is no rush in my heart, because I like to enjoy the experience. Like, this should be a fun experience for any person that tries to pursue it. And I think too, what also helps me is, like, because of my job, I get to enjoy this more. I'm not living off of this in the sense that it's not something I have to survive off of. So I get to enjoy the experience a lot more for the bodybuilding journey. So it's like, I hope that for other people that they get to just enjoy it for what it is. Enjoy the good times and the hard times also.
Yeah. Well, I remember this something somebody told me when my brother passed. What doesn't, God don't put no more than you can bear. And sometimes, if it doesn't break you, it might bend you a bit, but as long as it doesn't break you, you can keep going. That's the thing about this sport, and the concussions, the things involved with it, from people being nice, too nice, and not so nice. Yeah. And the aspects of it, as you are an athlete, you are a woman, you have a path, you have an interest, you have a goal. Olympia, that's the biggest goal for everybody now. Now you have the Masters Olympia, that's another big goal. Used to be, you could say all this was a classic, but as you know, he kicked out Physique, women's bodybuilding, and figure 212 I don't care about. But the opportunities, as you know, are far and few between. I think at least to me, I said again, at least about 3 more shows for Olympic qualification. Then there's about a few more after. I think it's Atlantic Coast, but now you're going to school things, so that would be out of your range because it's your off season. Maybe next year you might think about that. Maybe your coaching talk about because hey, that's that's for qualification for 2027 if you do it. And
well, I'm not even. I can't qualify for masters yet. I'm still 30. I'm only 37.
I'm talking about 2027 Olympia.
Oh, like when it comes that time. Yeah.
yeah. That's what I'm thinking. I know you're not mastered yet because you were 35, so you're not there yet. You got a few more years. But yeah, there's also if you don't make it 2026, it's always 2027 because you say you take.
And that's the beauty of this. I mean, we live in a country too where we have the freedom to do this. Like it's a beautiful thing to just jump into the bodybuilding field and be like, I want to do this show. And if it's not there, you're hoping, like things will be better. And then you go again the next year. Like, that's the cool thing about this. It doesn't stop. It doesn't have to unless you want it to. So it's a nice thing.
Yeah. It's just basically about, I keep hearing this from quite a few ladies. It's not a race, George. It's a marathon. It's about taking the time to grow, to develop. If you are if you look at it now as divisions are evolving, if you're seeing women who look more like one particular division over another, but they have to realize that. They have to realize that your body's changing. Get out of your own way. Take a chance. Sometimes I know some women say, I do well in this division, but you can do better in the other. And also focus on a goal. Be realistic in your goal. If you can make top 5, you've done it at least twice already. Your Tampa and at Chicago. That's pretty good. I mean,
and that's what I wanted also. And the main goal that I wanted was for my number to be called out first. That's what I wanted to go, and it happened at Tampa. So for me, I was like, that's what I wanted, first call out, but I wanted my number called out first. And to hear that, I was like, check. Like, that was good. Because when I saw those other Olympians, I was like, I know what I'm up against. But I have to say, for me, as hard as tough as Chicago was, because the show was, a little behind with hours and stuff. So I felt like I loved that package more than the Tampa one, but I came in more conditioned. I don't know. I liked the way I looked in Chicago. I felt like everything looked really nice, but it was, I'm just proud of it. It's all of a beautiful experience, but both shows were really good. I'm happy.
Maybe because the environment was what it is, because it was a lot more cool, a lot more comfortable. The Toronto Pro, that's also another option. You ever think about that?
Yeah,
Chicago.
I got invited. They sent me a message on social media inviting me to their show, and I said that's something I'll consider. It's just like I said, with the school and just making sure everything's aligned. I even told my coach, I go, maybe that's something to consider in the future. She's like, yeah, why not? And I was like, I've never been to Canada, so let's go.
I had a friend of mine, Janine. She played in Tampa. I think she might be doing the Linda show. And we're talking how maybe it's time to, I know it's your backyard, but it's time to maybe switch it up every now and then. Go to another show, check it out. Sometimes you can't always be the person, hey, I'm always doing a show every year. Sometimes it's good to switch it up and see how you do the other shows. There's more opportunity. I think there's opportunities there. You just got to be willing. And also, you have to make it work within your timeline. Sometimes if you got some vacation time, you don't want to burn it up too often because just to do a show that's clear across the other side of the world or the other side of the country. But if you find that what helps you in your path and your process, and also things that work for you as an athlete, your coach understands. This also, remember this also, even though your coach might tell you some stuff, you have to be your own advocate. Sometimes, I was talking to one lady, she said she wanted to do this show because her coach said, hey, you'll do this one thing. But then, hey, you never know. You could have opportunity to maybe place well, do well. It's just sometimes it's a hit or miss. But you also got to remember, hey, you're paying them for something. And also, you feel like, hey, I want to do this. And if I fall on my face, I'm falling on my face. It's not about you personally. It's about me seeing what I can do.
Yeah. And it happened to me last season. That's why I only did the Tampa Pro. There were a lot of life things going on and a lot of work stresses that were happening. And my cortisol levels were not working with me. And Linda Murray's show was going to be my first show because she was earlier. The show was earlier in the summer in July. Now it's going to be next week. So, but as we're getting closer and closer, and as we're doing the scans of my body, I told my coach, I said, I'm not feeling good. And she goes, you don't want to do it? I said, I don't want my pro debut to be this way. I said, I want to be proud of what I bring. And she's like, not a problem. So that was like the first time I really kind of spoke up because I trust my coach, since the first time I said, we talked business and, like I told her, I said, I'm this way and she understood. And, she knows my work ethic really well now. And how I operate. So when I told her last year, I'm like, coach, I'm not feeling it. I'm, like, this is too hard. And she's like, I agree. And so to have a coach and she's so calm. A lot of coaches get hyped and she'll have her moments of excitement because, things are going well. But there's moments where I get hyped and has to calm me down. Like earlier in the season, I'm like, coach, let's do this show. I want to do this show. She goes, no, yes, you're looking great, but why don't we slow things down? Let's do things safely. And that was a big thing for me because I told her, I said, I just want to be safe for this whole thing. I was like, there's so many young lives being taken away early and it's scary. And it's so I just, I wanted, it's not a race, it's a marathon. And I want, in Chicago when the masters category were just finishing and there were these 2 figure competitors and I hear her say, oh, us old people. And I looked at her and I said, no, I said, I want to grow up and be like you. I was like, I am me. I'm doing open. I said, but you guys are up here. I said, I want to be like you. I want to make it to a master's category, because that is a testament of you being consistent for so many years. And that's why I love the master's category. And I think it should be an often thing. I don't know why it's every 2 years. I think it should be something that should be celebrated every year, like regular Olympia. Because there's more people jumping into it that are older, that it's saving their lives too. This is something that is a lifeline for a lot of people, including myself. Even like during the pandemic, unfortunately, you lost your mother. I almost lost my dad during that summer, and it was the longest summer of my life, and it was really, really rough because he was on the ventilator 100% and not knowing if he was going to make it or not. Being a daddy's girl, it rocked my world. And I was thankful that even though, the gyms were closed and stuff, I had the ability to go run outside. I had to wear myself out in so many ways because I was the only daughter here handling everything and family calling me left and right and not knowing anything, so it takes a lot of all of you. And so, this is a lifeline for many, and it saved my father too, because bodybuilding is something that, they said to him, you're a very strong man. And I feel like he lost a lot of his muscle mass too. But I felt like that muscle mass is what fueled his strength to continue moving on. It's something that helps you mentally, physically, everything,
Yeah.
so I think it's as a person that, I'm approaching 40 and God willing in a few years, and I want to continue this path and show others that it is worth it. It's definitely worth it.
Yeah, I can tell you, I like this. My mother, when she had gotten sick, her first seizure was a day after my 40th birthday.
Mm.
And seeing her like where she was, it was just difficult. And going through seizure, strokes, she was diabetic, type 2, a lot of stuff. And when I made a decision, because I wasn't doing anything, I was out of work. I was trying to look for a job. I was and one day I said, you know what? She was at a place. It was like one of these recovery homes. She was in a wheelchair. Looking this lady next down she's tied in the bed, yelling, hollering. And I looked at my mother and said, she don't want to be here. She wants to be home. So we went back home, and there was some stuff I wasn't feel comfortable doing, but I had people like friends, neighbors help me out a bit. But then one day we got hit with Matthew real bad. It was in this place because she got sick at home, and I sent her to the hospital, and then went to this place. And we stayed there for a while, and they had to learn certain things like how to change her, how to clean her. I made that decision because that was my woman. I had relations, but not relationships. I had fun with some ladies, and then that's about it. Roll on, roll off. And she was my riding buddy. I used to work 4 days a week, 10 hours a day, and we off on Friday. We go to yard sales and go hang out. And I made a decision, and it was difficult. A lot of things. There was butting heads every now and then. I used to sometimes make a breakfast in the morning, and sometimes we might argue and say, "Ain't I a man, Mama? Ain't I a man?" She said, "No, you're my baby." And we laughed. But when she died, I remember her funeral. I didn't cry. I know my brothers and sisters cried because they didn't spend much time they wanted to. And I was just like, I was at peace. But I was still sad because This is somebody I grew up lived most of my life with, and it's hard to lose someone like that. And then with this stuff I'm doing now, this content, meet people like Eunice and you and other people's, it's helped my mind.
Mhm.
I'm not perfect. I am, I'm like any person, I'm not perfect, but doing this and learning this and talk to you ladies and also letting you know that I think y'all are beautiful women. Y'all just a sight. Yeah, just so.
Thank you.
But
Mhm.
understanding what it is, the factors, the work, the consistency, the strength, and just the mentality they have to do this sport. Like I said, the great Ronnie Coleman, he was gonna go to Atlanta, but because of his circumstances, he's not going this year. He says,
Yeah.
now, like everybody wants to be a bodybuilder, but no one lifts his heavy ass weight. That's the same thing. If you're not willing to put in the work, consistency, make sacrifices. There's a lot of sacrifices. I know there's times where you want to do this, do that with the husband, but you can't because you got to get dressed, you got to target, get up in the morning, do your cardio or run or do lift weights and get ready for the school. And and then the things that friends and families don't understand. Like I know a lady who told me she went to a wedding, she had to bring her own food. There's so much to this. And if people
Yes.
understand it, that's good. Everybody else, to hell with them. We
Mhm.
have here, shout out to, this is from Ard, RRD Fitness. He says muscle fire, if there's emojis, a lot of emojis. Thank you, brother, for coming through, folks. We're not gonna hold much too longer because I know she's sweating.
Oh, it's always hot. It's Florida in general, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And I got
Well,
a meal prep for tomorrow.
yeah, we got a lot of work to do.
Yeah,
Then you got school. We got schools back.
pretty much. Yep.
Forever.
Got
Yo,
120
I,
kiddos waiting for me.
I know parents are like, I think I seen some people of videos like somebody, like it was a clip from a church gathering and they played it was one of it was a Luke Campbell. The kids and like
Oh,
people
they
like
start
parents.
rolling out all the memes of back to school. It's like the blues, the sending the kid. And I'm sure I get questions like even at Chicago Pro when I mentioned to one parent, I guess we were just talking in line and you get the same questions. When school's starting again? I was like, I don't know when in Chicago, but I know when in West Palm Beach. I was like, I can't ease anybody, but it's a privilege and an honor to be able to teach these kids and to also be an example to parents because they see it too. Like it can be done. And they're like, I can't do what you do. I'm like, yes, you can. If you want it, you can.
That's the thing.
So
You have to be willing to want it. It's not going to be easy. Anything worth having is never easy. Me doing this
that's
content,
my husband's quote every day.
it was never easy for me. It took me a while. I made some mistakes. Some people say, like one lady told me, like one time, like I talk to ladies in other countries and then I talk a little fast because sometimes
Mhm.
from people in the South we have a way we talk and speak, but then some ladies you got to slow it down a little bit, Joy, because sometimes some people not understand. And also you might get excited. So I had to learn, I had to adapt, I had to
Mhm.
grow. I have to be aware of my actions and my behaviors. And some people, like I said again, may not like my content and what I do, but here's the thing is, who else is talking about you? If you go to other
Mhm.
you go to on YouTube, most of the guys who do bodybuilding, they mostly talk about either the guys open or the bikinis or wellness. And no offense to those divisions, I particularly have interest in wellness because, as I said again, one of my jobs is to work in a gentleman's club, as you say, or in the hood with a booty club, it's all about that. And it's about realizing that y'all ladies really need attention. Y'all need to be recognized. Y'all need the opportunities. People like Andrea and Sydney and Sarah and
Mhm.
Natalia and so many other ladies.
Mhm.
I mean, quite a few ladies have become friendly with some. Still, we don't, may not talk as much, but every now and then I might get something to say, George, I'm doing this. You think you can promote it? So yeah, no problem. Well, come on. Tomorrow, me and my
Yeah.
friend News are going to do a little conversation, because talk about her and what Bad Rap did at Tampa. Then a couple weeks, I'm going to see some ladies going to come on after we did the Masters show, because I want to give them some
Mhm.
time to get their bodies together, get accumulated back in the U.S. after being over there for so time. I mean, one
Yeah.
lady said it was so hot over there. Then the language and everything else, and
Mhm.
also, I remember I interviewed Tatiana Tiana Flex, who her and her husband interviewed them 2 days before, and she won. And I told him, "Hey, I was your good luck charm." I said, "Hey, George, let's do something later on after we get back South Africa, things get settled." I said, "Yeah, we can do it at the end of the month." Doing this content and talking about you ladies, this is something. This is a bonus for me. This is what like I said, this is my legacy. If I, like I said, don't have kids, don't have babies. I don't believe that dog parent stuff. That's a dog. My sister had
I
poodles.
just say dog because I'm like, I'm just a dog mom.
Yeah,
That's it.
yeah, nah. That's it. You're like, my sister had poodles.
I don't celebrate Mother's Day. I don't do any of that, but it's just I'm a dog mom.
A dog to me, a dog's property. I love a dog, but hey, I can do what you do without. I don't think people like that. They love their dog like that. My sister had poodles. She loved her poodles. But this is about you as a person, and like I said, you're an amazing person. I'm following you for a while on social media. Your story, your path, what got you here, and that's why I do this channel. That's why I talk about, because, like I said, this is my saying. It may not be the '80s, but I'm down with the ladies, and that's why I do this. I even had guys on here a couple of times. Autumn Priori, when he told his story about how he survived having the Omicron variant. I had him on here. Just John Faucion, who just got his pro card. My man Big Keith's been a guest, and also another guy named Sean. He's an amateur competitor, but now he's running a business. This is a channel about recognizing not just men and women's sport, and that's why I call myself the emperor, not just female bodybuilding talk, but also bodybuilding talk. I also have another moniker. I'm the emperor of combat sports talk. I've interviewed ladies in mixed martial arts, from MMA to boxing to bare knuckle wrestling.
And now rugby's coming back into the States, so that's a big sport. A lot of these women that are coming through, which, like I said, it's not just bodybuilding. A lot of us are resurfacing or coming out and showing. We need to show young ladies too that this is something they can all pursue, because everything is declining. If you look at, the youth and even just young people in general, nobody really wants to do something for themselves that gives them purpose, that gives them a drive. Everybody's just kind of like here. And so when it comes to doing something for yourself, it really matters. It gives you pride. It gives you a feeling that you belong. And this is something, like you said, it's your baby. This is something that you have crafted and you've developed, and you're proud of it. And we thank you for it, because you gave us a platform and a voice, because a lot of people don't know who I am, but it's like, I wanted to be, not because of what I model or what I do, but you see my work ethic and you see what I do. And I want it to be honest and fair. And like I said, this is something that you earned, you work for it, and it's worth it. And so when we can share that and display it to others, like, there were nights where, like you had asked, like, I didn't want to continue. I'm like, what am I even doing this for? But when you have a person who, like one of my boys, who is wheelchair bound, and he sees me and he's like, I'm doing this and I'm doing that. Like, he goes into sports, like, that to me matters, but that's my world. Somebody else, it may be different. And whatever you inspire others, that's all I want to do. That's my influencing. That's how I see it. I'm an influencer, in person, in the sense that I want to motivate you. I want to make you feel the best that you can be.
Yeah. Well, anytime ladies say thank you to me, I go back to my favorite movie, Batman Begins, at the end of it, when Jim Gordon turns around to Batman and says, I never got a chance to say thank you. And Batman says to him, you never have to. And I just doing this really is motivation for me enough to start talking to ladies and to be around. And being, like I said again, being at Tampa was very intoxicating for me. I mean, it was so much. I wish I could have done more. If I had more time. Yeah, but I enjoyed the opportunity. It has really helped me a bit. And I gotta, before we let you go, he has to say something. He says, Eileen, I want to tell you again, you are beautiful. I'm trying to keep control, but the problem is he completes me. So we're gonna thank the lovely Miss Aviles for coming through.
Thank you for having me.
Again, don't worry about thanking me, ma'am. I really appreciate the opportunity. We wish you all the best of luck, and also going back to school. Oh my God, those young guns! I couldn't do your job. I couldn't. I'd be like, we say, hey, you have to fire me. And like, hey, I'd be like, having coming out. Hey, they started. I was finishing it. But we do wish you the best of luck. We hope to see you maybe like I said, Chicago. You're beautiful. I can't hear myself. And I hope maybe another show opportunity to get Olympic qualification, and maybe a few years down the road. So, ma'am, do you have anybody you want to shout out to before we let you go on and enjoy the rest of your day?
Just everybody. Thank you for the support and the encouragement. I just appreciate everybody that's been behind me since day one. And so, of course, my family, my husband, and just Lolita and everybody, Coach Pablo, my athletic love, my BBL family, my athletic factor family, everybody in between, and all those munchkins that I watched my journey to continue to watch more because you're going to see her go to the top.
Me, yeah, Well, folks, I enjoyed my time with this lovely Canadian lady, and I hope all the best for in the future. If you want to follow Eileen, her link in the description of this live stream. Be respectful. She has students. She has a husband. Her poppy. You don't want to say, "Hey, I don't want to be in a wheelchair and beating some Vato's head or something." Be respectful. Be understanding. Be supportive. And said again, guys, you get more with a silk glove than an iron fist. And I know what you're doing that iron fist. So, folks, again, I'd like to thank Eileen for her time. Wish her best of luck and hope we see more of her in the future.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyway, folks, this is your man, Lloyd George Page, aka the Emperor of Female Body Talk. I'd like to thank my guest who's here, and also my shout out to my man KL the Wanderer. Check out his channel; he does content, and wish you all the best the rest of this week. So, good luck, good luck, God bless, and have a happy first of the week. Hey, kids, you're back in school. Parents, party, party. So, good luck, and thank you again.
Thank you.